has problem. Doesn't want to feed from this magazine. Yeah, this was a bit unexpected, I gotta say. Wow, so much noise, it's unbelievable. And I'm shooting just, I think it's about like 10 feet, you know. But see, basically I'm just loading them one by one. Try a bit further. Well, I use my little laser to correct the, actually no, this will not work. Correct the red dot, because it was at first it seemed okay, and yeah, so those rounds don't work. So these rounds don't want to feed, but these ones should work. So now we bought what, like 50. Okay, I'm just pointing right at the middle. Or now it works. Okay, how about at the top? Right at the top of the target. See, I see, that's the difference. Look at the one on the left, the size of brass. See how much bigger it is? And the cartridge itself, yeah, when they open, they're pretty much the same. But when they're closed, this one is way longer, so it doesn't want to feed from the magazine. What are you saying? You want my money? I'm sorry, I only carry credit cards. So, my first impressions shooting my shotgun. Yeah, my plastic under the chair keeps, I'm not sure how it's happening. Hello, Sergei. Hello. Yeah, no, it's not ready yet. It's probably in a week or so. It's not, it cannot ship until, probably until 10th of January, okay? Just give me a call next week, okay? Thank you. The same lady keeps calling me every week about the load I have from Manitoba to Quebec. But anyway, today is my day off. Why are we talking about this? I want to talk about my range experience. First off, the place was very easy to find. They're smack downtown, and because today's Saturday, you know, I just took the bypass around Calgary, and then just took another road to go downtown. It's, you know, there's lots of industrial areas, and that's what these guys are doing. They rented pretty much like a office space, right? But I looked at their website, and the way they did it, they bought a very expensive, you'd probably call it like a range system. It's some kind of brand where basically they give you like turnkey range inside the building, and it's all basically sea containers, 40-foot sea containers with isolation inside, you know. And so you open the door, and you don't even realize it, but you are inside a 40-foot sea container, and one door, and you have two shooting lanes. Like, you know, I can shoot, and then somebody next to me can shoot. So Very kind of like unique experience. It's not that loud because of course I brought my ear protection, and then when I was leaving I saw that they were selling some of this stuff, but you know, it's, I asked the guy, I said, how expensive? He says, oh, like 25 bucks. Okay, but then I go look at the shelf and it's like $90, $60, and then I got this, it was like 45, but I asked the guy, like, can they extend? Will they go over my head? The guy says, yeah. And so I trust him because I bought some cheap ones from Canadian Tire, and it had some plastic tube in the back there, and that tube is basically acted as a stethoscope. You know, when it was touching my shirt, I could hear all those noises multiplied in my ears, like very annoying. So I ended up just removing that bracket and just use those orange, you know, kind of like mini mufflers, so to speak. I put them in my ears, but something like this is definitely way better. So made by Coldwell Shooting Supplies, so 45 bucks Canadian. So I'm ready for my next adventure. And so yeah, the place was easy to find, and the guys were very polite. It was pleasure to work with them. You know, I had to sign a form. I basically had to show them my license, my PAL, Possession Acquisition License for Canada. And then they asked me for, I showed them the receipt, proof of purchase of the gun within the last 30 days. And that's it. They said, you have your ammo? I said, yeah, I got my ammo. You have a gun? I said, yeah. But of course, first I came in, I didn't want to drag everything. And so I asked him, and then the guy said, yeah, you can bring everything in here. And so I brought my gun, I brought my ammo box, and the entrance to the range was like, I don't know, 5 meters away, 15 feet, but it's all coded, right? So the guy opens the door and we are inside this container with 2 shooting lanes. And because I showed up there like 9:15 in the morning, so there was nobody, I was all by myself. And the guy did a quick introduction. Oh, and you have to buy your own targets. That's the only thing. I thought they would supply targets, but targets were, I don't know, I bought like 3 or 4. I even didn't use all of them. I gave them, you know, there was a couple showed up at the end when I was finishing. A couple showed up and they were using the ranges. Like the range can also give you a gun, right? Like you can try even a pistol. Like you cannot buy a pistol in Canada anymore, but if you go to a range like that, they can give you a pistol. They can give you, like these guys were shooting. I asked them what it was, and they said it was a 9mm rifle, which is of course like a carbine, right? 9mm, but it was also pretty loud. So it was husband and wife, you know, testing a 9mm. It looked pretty good, like it was like this big, you know, not very long rifle, but a rifle, but basically shooting pistol rounds, you know. And so yeah, I bought like those big targets. I think I bought like 3 or 4 big ones, and then one smaller was like $9, which is like nothing, you know. And actually it was fun, you know. I thought just shooting paper would not be very fun, but it was fun. So targets are there, and then it give you a quick instruction, and there's cameras everywhere, so they're watching you. And I asked them, because you know, you gotta ask, it's private property, right? So I asked them, I said, guys, would it be okay if I record a, you know, video for my YouTube channel? I said, I'm not gonna show any of your customers or anything like that. I said, I'm just gonna show myself, okay? And they said, normally we don't allow this, but you know, if you're just gonna show yourself, it's fine. And so I had one on my head, and I then tried to show the target, but of course it's pretty far. Like these GoPros, you know, they're not very good at showing something in the distance. So that was that. And then of course I had trouble, as you saw, I had trouble with the magazine where I put those bigger cartridges, right? And actually I saw a video about this on YouTube where one guy was doing a review of this 590M, and that's exactly the complaint he had. He said he had a mix of different cartridges, and he found that one type did not work well with the magazine. And so you see, that's the drawback, right? So the drawback of this 590M, you know, nothing is perfect, right? So the drawback, first off, you limit it to 2 3/4 cartridges, and even then you have to choose, you know, a short one, a short cartridge. And so yeah, the magazine did not work at all, because actually when I tried it by myself, they were those long cartridges were very hard to push in, and that's why, and they were kind of like stuck in there, right? Even though each magazine had like 10 cartridges, but you know, the shotgun couldn't extract the cartridge and put it in the chamber. And so you saw I had to basically remove the bottom, take the spring out, remove all the cartridges, and then 20 cartridges, I was kind of like shooting like almost like a bolt action rifle, right? Like put the cartridge, rack, you know, eject, put the cartridge, rack, and it was okay, you know. But then the first shot, I'm telling you, it was a real scary. Okay, it was not the like some people were saying, oh man, if you shoot so much your shoulder will be sore. I don't feel anything. Maybe tomorrow I'll feel something. Like, it doesn't kick that hard because it's a 2 3/4 shell, right? It's not like 3 or 3.5, right? And it's a 12 gauge shotgun, not 10, right? So it's not that bad. But the whole thing, I find there was actually more recoil for some reason. I felt on the front, you know, where I was holding the wrecking thing, you know, the front of the barrel. Over there I felt it more, and it was like, especially the first shot, I did not expect it to be so violent, you know. It felt like really like a cannon, like I was shooting a cannon, holding it with 2 hands, and it's like boom. And I tried to aim with that red dot. Forget it. Probably, yeah, like people are saying that, you know, shotguns are probably red dots don't belong on shotguns, because, you know, shotgun, it's like goes all over the place, you know. And even when I was standing, I'm standing and I'm trying to be, you know, still, and I'm looking at that red dot. Everything is fine, but it's moving, you know. I cannot hold it still. And then of course, you know, goes up. So like pellets were all over the place, but you know, after the first initial shock, you know, the subsequent shots were easier to deal with. But still, like every time you pull the trigger, it's like it's like a cannon, you know. Like at first I didn't even enjoy it, you know. I'll be honest with you. Like first probably like 5 shots, I thought, man, and I got this gun now, like what do I do? Like what if I don't like it, you know? So the first 5, I was a bit skeptical about this whole, you know, shooting for fun thing. But then after the second one, once I get those nice shells, mags with the nice shells, it was fine. And then the lady with the husband came in, and actually I found that my barrel was getting pretty hot, right? So I put it down, and this guy says, you know, he says it's hard to do, you know, give him instructions if you're shooting. So I said, well, I'm not shooting. I said my barrel is pretty hot, so I'm okay to wait so you can talk to them. And so he told them that quickly, like 5 minutes, the procedure. And I had 1 mag left, like the big one, 15 round mag. And this one, I really had fun, you know, because I went like cowboy style, you know, like, okay, ready to fire, safety off, fire. And I started wrecking like fast, you know. I probably did like 10 shots, like in quick succession. And actually it shoots pretty fast, you know, if you rack properly. Or that's another thing I had an issue with. I didn't rack, you know, hard enough, and it was one of the shells got stuck, right? And so I had to open it, take it out. So you really have to, you know, do like a fixed movement. You cannot do it like halfway, right? So you have to rack it pretty hard so that it captures that cartridge and puts it in the chamber. And so yeah, but the last mag I really enjoyed it, because I didn't even aim that. I was just watching the red dot. I put that red dot in the middle of this big, you know, human torso target, and I just, that was fun. You know, that was fun. I think it would be really fun to, you know, try and find some private property where, you know, you can shoot legally, you know, some not just paper targets, but let's say some, you know, pumpkins, you know, melons, stuff like that, some bowling pins, you know, it'll be more fun. But even this is great. And what I like about this arrangement with the membership, that you can actually use their guns, right? Like I never shot a pistol in my life, so I can go there. I don't even have to bring any ammo, right? I can use their gun, I can use their ammo, and just shoot whatever they have there, right? And actually, you don't even need to have a license, you know, to do this, because you just shoot under supervision, right? The officer, what they call him, a range officer, he just watches you, but you can use their gun, you can use their ammo. Of course, it's much more expensive than bringing your own, right? But still, you know. So basically, if you want to do it for fun, depending how often you want to do it, like in Canada, and since this PAL takes like 6 months to get, right? So might as well just, you know, find a gun club where they will allow you to borrow their guns, and then you can shoot everything, you know. But for me, what I want to do is next time I go there, I'll just maybe get like a rifle, you know, because I'm pretty sure that after this, sometime in the summer or spring, I'm gonna get like a hunting rifle. And this way, you know, by using their guns, I can try many different types, you know, and see which one I like better, right? It's kind of like renting a car before you buy it, you know. So I think it's a good idea, because these guys also sell new guns. They're also a dealer. I'm not sure how good their prices are, but you know, they sell ammo, they sell guns. So it's a good place to, you know, to be familiar with. And so yeah, so the only issue I had was with that long cartridge, right? And like I said, the first shot was scary, but then and also I used my laser thing, and I quickly resighted the shotgun, because when I tried it over there at maybe, I don't know, at 15 yards or something, like 10-15 meters, the red dot was like this much higher than the bore laser. So I still had to bring it down. Like for some reason it's always going up, right? Because I'm guessing because it sits so high above the barrel. I'm talking about the red dot. So I don't know. So now I think I sighted it for about 15 meters or something. But even that seems, you know, pretty far with the shotgun. But the groups were not too bad. The groups were like this, you know, at about 10 meters. So it is cool. And now what I know is that you don't need to buy so many targets, because one big target, you know, that human torso target, you can shoot the top part, you can shoot the center, you can shoot sides, you know, and each one you can do like, I don't know, 5-10 shots, you know. So all I needed was basically, all I used was 2 targets, one big one, one small one. And so I had 2 left, 2 of the big ones left, so I just left them to that couple that was over there. But all in all, it was a bit of a scary experience, and definitely looking forward to doing it again. But so now I see that, yeah, my left eye dominance thing, it works. I just have to, you know, instead of doing like this, I have to do like this, but it works. Everything is fine. So it was a very interesting experience, you know. And one cool thing is that what some people are doing, you know, people who are in sales, what they're doing is they're bringing potential customers, you know, like on a weekend like this. Let's say I have some important customers, you know, who wants me to help them ship like $1 million worth of freight. Then, you know, I can say, hey, I can pay for like hour on the range. You want to try, you know, shooting some pistols or some rifles or some shotguns, and then we'll go to Starbucks. How is that, you know? So it's pretty cool. Like, but I feel like as if, I remember when I was in the army, the first time I jumped with a parachute, I think it was like 800 meters or 1,000 meters, but that was probably the most scariest thing I ever done in my life, like jumping with a parachute, and you have no idea if it's gonna open or not. Well, they're saying like 99.999% is gonna open, right? But they open the door and you look down and you're like, what? You want me to jump? Man. So this probably the shooting the shotgun, the first shot from the shotgun was probably the second most scariest experience I had in my life, okay? After jumping with a parachute. I kid you not. It's, maybe like that 9mm rifle that the guy was shooting actually was still loud, but this thing, I was thinking about buying a 10 gauge, so with 3-inch shells, but I'm glad I have 12 gauge and 2 3/4 shells, because that would be like a nightmare. But yeah, again, so the good news is that the recoil is not that bad. It's just the whole gun shakes, So maybe I wasn't pushing it hard enough into my shoulder, but I was trying to stabilize it as much as possible. And of course, it would be easier if I could sit down, because they do have a counter over there, and maybe bring, one of my sandbags. I think it would be more fun, if you can. And they did have a stool over there, but I couldn't raise it high enough. But yeah, just standing, it's not very accurate. I don't know how people shoot standing and they're hitting targets. Well, I did hit something, right? You saw a bunch of holes on those targets. It does work. So definitely, if I was doing some tactical maneuver somewhere in the army, like this thing, you don't have to aim very hard, really. Like, let's say 5-10 meters away, let's say, you some kind of a fight, let's say in the army, right? Let's just say somewhere in the front, and you have this thing, you just point it in the general direction, 5-10 meters away, that thing is dead, whatever you're pointing this in at. So yeah, I'm very excited. Again, last time I held a gun in my hands, it was 38 years ago in the Soviet Army in the winter of 1985. That 5.45mm AKM or AKS with a folding stock. So this is the second time in my life I'm shooting something. So that's why I decided to record this video, in case some newbie, somebody like me who it's been a while since they shot something. So yeah, a shotgun can be really intimidating, very loud, very violent. So 2 3/4 shells, good. 12 gauge, good. 10 gauge, bad. But maybe like if you never shot before, maybe like 20 gauge would be good, to start, like a 20 gauge, which is of course smaller caliber, so it should be less loud, should have even less recoil. But this one was fine. But again, just if you get a 12 gauge, be ready for some kick. Like, mostly I felt it in my hands, and the noise, like, man, it's really like a cannon. All right, so I'm gonna leave you guys with that. So I have another video uploading today at 3, and I'm recording this on January 7th, 11:18 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And so my first video is coming up at 3 p.m. and then I'm gonna probably do this at like 6 or something. So thanks for watching. Bye.